Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of City Council for Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. I have a meeting announcement. All council meetings will be live streamed on the city's website. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Reverend Burgess. Here. Mr. Coghill. Ms. Gross.
Here.
Mr. Kraus. Mr. Lavelle.
Here.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Here.
Mr. Wilson. Mrs. Kale-Smith, President.
Here.
5 members present.
Thank you. As we join from our remote locations and in person, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing if you're able for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. And our next order of business is to amend the agenda. Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda is amended. Thank you. And our next order of business is proclamations, and we have two to be read into the record, one from Councilman Lavelle and one from myself. Madam Clerk.
Councilman Lavelle presents. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare August 13th, 2022 to be Paul Anthony Ellis Jr. Day in the City of Pittsburgh.
Second one.
Council President Smith presents. Be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Friday, August 26th, 2022 to be Philip Douglas Byers Day in the City of Pittsburgh.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to approve in a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Proclamations are approved. And our next order of business is public comment. And I would like to remind everyone that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which are or may be before City Council. Threats and profanity will not be permitted. May we have the first registered speaker, and the first registered speaker is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller. Dr. Miller, good morning.
Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller, Bells Hoover, and Najimena and Chad, Global Intelligence Society U.S. National Candidate for the Presidency 2024, globalintelligencesociety.org. Mr. Gainey and Ms. Kale-Smith, if I don't misunderstand you, advocate Pittsburgh as a world-class city. And I ask you citizens, do you think that this council is world-class? Do you think that the Office of Mayor is functioning at a world-class level? A couple of reference points. The U.S. Constitutional State, 1789, and the U.S. National Security State, 1947, National Security Act. I have a copy of the original. If any of you are interested, I can get you one. Concern of Pittsburgh City Council is its executive sessions. There's a request in the current agenda 2022-0653. ES is the abbreviation I'm going to use. An example is 23 August 2022. The rules of Pittsburgh Council, ROC, 3 meetings, section F, executive sessions, 1 purpose, public is excluded. Quote, according to state law, no identification of what that is. ESs are defined as follows. Among those are 3F1.4, quote, to consult with an attorney regarding information or strategy in connection with litigation. So if the 23 August 2022 ES or any other ES concerns possible, probable, certain litigation by a citizen against this council, say by Dr. Ronald N. Miller, for violations of freedom of speech in public comment, according to ROC 3F11.4, in consultation with its attorney, Friedson, council can discuss response to a citizen lawsuit against council, including by RLM, while the citizen, RLM for example, cannot directly access the ES litigation discussion. Does any citizen, including RLM, have access to the 23 August 2022 ES via FOIA? If no, why? And if yes, does ES 23 August 2022 access include all lexical, audio, visual components? Or does it exclude sections like in the FBI Donald Trump Mar-a-Lago search warrant affidavit redaction problem? Counselors, even if you use a virtual link to be part of any of these ESs, including one today, it will come out. The information will become available. You have to understand that there is no way, unless you're in a room that's sealed, that can be done.
Thank you. Your next speaker we have is Jessica Wasserloff. Jessica, is she online?
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you for everyone's time this morning. Just wanted to comment on an article that came out last week from our city council president talking about removing some of our homeless people that are in tents throughout the city, and that there's need for other action that is important, like temporary housing, hotel rooms, and other things like that. But I think the threat of forcible removal of folks that are set up is something that I and other citizens in Pittsburgh City are paying attention to and do not want to see happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is John Hanrahan. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. It's Hanrahan. John? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is John Hanrahan. I live at 434 Katoma Street in Fineview, Council District 1. I am here to weigh in on Council's efforts to address homelessness and the rapidly inflating cost of housing, and I am generally speaking in favor of Resolution 677. I'm curious what Council imagines will happen after these various parcels of buildable city-owned land are identified. Will the city build with the same ambitious scale as early public housing developments like Allegheny Dwellings or Terrace Villages? Will the city still hold title to the land after it is developed? I'm hopeful that this resolution indicates a crisis-level urgency about finally putting our many abandoned properties back to good use by clearing titles, fixing and retrofitting homes, and again, keeping that land in public control. I'm so-so on the proposal to build tiny homes. I'd personally rather see the city building tiny row houses. We could replicate the urban fabric that has made so much of our housing so appealing, and then of course, so expensive. And at the same time, we could avoid the heightened carbon emissions that go hand in hand with detached single-unit housing, even when it is tiny. But in all honesty, Resolution 677 is not what got me down here on my day off. What got me out of bed this morning were the comments made by Council President K.L. Smith in a KDKA news report dated August 16th. In response to people living in tents here in Pittsburgh, quote, "I would like to see the tents removed, and there's a way to do it with some compassion." No, there is not. Homeless sweeps are an assault on and theft from our neighbors who have already been so excluded, exploited, and underserved. And comments like this heighten the dangers that homeless people already face and distract from the issue at hand, which is ensuring the fundamental right of housing for all. I hope to see a Section 4 added to Resolution 677. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of Pittsburgh that the forced displacement of unhoused people is as deleterious to the public health and well-being as it is unconscionable.
Our next speaker is Rachel Green. Rachel Green. Is she on? No. Our next speaker is Rachel Nefshed. Rachel Nefshed. Is she on? Okay, good.
Yes, that's me. Hi,
Hi.
Rachel Nefshade. I would also like to speak on what the City Council President on her comments about homeless sweeps, and I would like to voice my strong opposition to homeless sweeps. They are cruel. They do not solve the problem of homelessness in our city. All they do is make it so the rest of us can pretend that homeless folks don't exist. I'm sure that if the City Council worked with organizations like the Pittsburgh Union for Regional Renters, they'd be able to work together to find compassionate and healthy solutions to homelessness in Pittsburgh and even throughout Allegheny County. So yeah, voicing my opposition to homeless sweeps in the city of Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next speaker is Spencer Liberto. Spencer. Spencer on? Yes. You need to unmute yourself, Spencer, please. Did he unmute?
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, now we can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for having me. My name is Spencer. I live in the city of Pittsburgh. I'm here to also voice my opposition of homeless sweeps in the city. I'm here because of an article that has already been referenced by many people here, and I just wanted to come here. I'm part of a group that actively hands out food and tents to homeless people in the city. We have been called misguided by members of the city council. We would like to see more action or alternatives from the city council. And as long as we don't see that, we're going to keep out handing tents. Thanks very much.
Thank you, and thank you for your work. Next speaker is Marlene Solomon. Marlene? Sean? No. Bonnie, there's no last name on here. Is there Bonnie? Okay. Laura Hass? Lara Hass? On? No? I'm going to spell this last name. What is it? Abhishek, I'm going to say this, Viswanathan. I'm going to spell it Viswanathan. Is it on? No. Matthew Rubin. Matthew Rubin is on.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Apologies for your dogs in the background. I am also here to speak against the. I'm also here to speak against the remarks about the forcible removal of unhoused people in Pittsburgh. And I understand, there's some resolutions here on the agenda that when we're all done speaking, I'll say you're working on it, you care. And there's a lot of things that talk about housing, but it's really unclear if these proposals are actually going to put out, help unhoused people to have houses. And it's unclear if council understands how this crisis is growing. You seem to think that people just appear out of nowhere unhoused, right? And there's actually a proposal here that maybe I'm missing some details on, but there's a proposal to take money from $1 million from tenant assistance through the URA and put it elsewhere towards various shelters and nonprofits to help unhoused people, and you'll say, well, those are more immediate needs, but it's just shuffling money around. Where do unhoused people come from? Well, probably has something to do with skyrocketing evictions in the city. Probably has something to do with, we have apparently $1 million of unused money to assist tenants who are facing crisis. At the same time, we have a proposal here to move a $500,000 into the renovation of a police department, or turning a school into a police department. And it just seems like we're here to sit here and talk about that we think housing is an actual crisis, but we're going to pretend like there isn't a ton more money in our budget to actually address this crisis. And I think we also need to think seriously about, are the solutions that council is proposing choosing to give money through nonprofits instead of government services? And are those nonprofits going to condition their aid upon subjecting people to, their religious beliefs? And how does that relate to the fact that queer youth in particular, very disproportionately likely to be, unhoused and often not welcome or feeling welcome in religious spaces. The public government is a public good, and we choose to do good things with our public money instead of just outsourcing everything to nonprofits. We can house people. We can do that. You can do better than this, and you can also just ask and house people instead of needing to farm endless councils and task forces. And frankly, a lot of these proposals, if you just give the money to unhoused people instead of to endless streams of nonprofits, probably do a lot more good to house people. Thank you for your time. And also, thank you for, if you actually care, thank you for paying attention and starting to care and do work on this. I think that really hope that people stand against any possibility of forceful removal of unhoused people. And I think if you're going to pass a resolution about this stuff, putting that in the language sounds like a very, very good idea to make very clear to the city's police that that is not a possibility.
The next speaker is Luna Plaza. Online? Yeah, thank you.
Hello, hi, I'm Luna. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm actually from the north side community of Pittsburgh, but I'm actually calling from Miami, where we also have one of the worst housing prices. And I'm here to stand firmly against the sweeping of our houseless neighbors in Pittsburgh who have nowhere else to go and are just trying to find a safe place to stay. These sweeps are cruel, they're legally questionable, and they're also a threat to public health and safety, and we're still in a pandemic. We should want people who are unhoused to get into housing. Forcing more people inside shelters or arresting them will only make this worse, and it's ineffective and unconstitutional. And instead of investing resources into sweeps, we need to invest in safe, affordable housing, because continuing with sweeps is only endangering public safety and just the people in our communities. These are people, they deserve to be part of our community, they deserve to be loved, and they deserve to be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Jacob Klinger. Is he on?
Hey y'all, my name is Jacob Klinger. Excuse me, my pronouns are he and him. I'm with the Pittsburgh Union of Regional Members. I understand there's some proposals coming across today that seem well intended, but I really want to just start by addressing the council president's comments yesterday. When you say that you are in favor of people being removed writ large, that is a violent and irresponsible thing to say. And it is especially irresponsible considering specifically the council president, but also this body's like long-standing indifference at best towards people who are at threat of becoming homeless and then ultimately homeless themselves. We're talking about people that you put on the street. And when you talk about people being removed and opening the door to, the Pittsburgh police being involved with that, you're talking about a body and institution that is provably not accountable to anyone, that, regularly does violence to our neighbors, housed or not. And so for someone that high up in our city government to say, hey, we got to get these people out of here and leave that, as it is. Other words follow. I understand, we can sit here and say things got taken out of context. But you've been in this game for a long time. You know how this works. And it's consistent with other actions to do harm to folks in this way. And so I just really want to address that. And I really want to get some things clear from council today. I do want to hear from every council person whether or not you oppose the city doing sweeps against the homeless. I know there's a bunch of other things you're going to discuss, but I need to hear that from each of you all. It bears repeating that for a long time, the city has neglected its housing budget, its public health budget, human services, and particularly in the early rise of the pandemic, every single city department, their budgets were cut, except the police, the people who you are in many ways giving a green light to go abuse some of our least fortunate neighbors. Some of our neighbors whose unfortunate you created. And you're saying this in the context of a city that is one of the most over-policed per capita in the United States of America, and where we are, 9 months removed from a Pittsburgh police officer killing a homeless man. So I want you all to understand that there's going to be consequences when you speak and act recklessly. If there are to be attempted forced removals of homeless folks who have already been forcibly removed from some other home, it's not going to look well for you all. I know you consider yourself, civic-minded folks, but there's going to be people, as there's already been people on this call who are interacting with the same folks you're putting out, and they'll still be there when you do whatever it is you conceive. So I would also like some clarity on Mayor Jamie's stance. I understand he said some words that sounded a bit more compassionate than the council president, but he said they won't remove them by force. That is also something that liberal mayors around the country have said shortly before, enabling police to do some of the worst things imaginable to our homeless neighbors. So I would like the mayor's office to more pointed to clarify, and I would like you all to answer: do you oppose the city doing sweeps against the homeless? Thank you.
And our next speaker is Zachary Michaels. Zachary Michaels, online?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm not the most articulate public speaker. I really just want to affirm what the last few speakers have said, that the comments were irresponsible, and that I think it would be a good rectification for there to be added language to this resolution that explicitly states that law enforcement will not be used to determine where unhoused people are allowed to be. And I do not think that this city should be using law enforcement for sweeps, especially considering prior city council meetings, especially around budget discussions. I think the city council made it pretty explicit that they were not interested in being an institution that can be used to hold policing accountable. So to greenlight them in any way against a marginal or marginalized population, I think would be quite dangerous. And yes, I just want to reaffirm what prior speakers said. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next and last registered speaker is Shannon Frischkorn. Shannon? Online? No. That exhausts our list of registered speakers. And now, if there's anyone in the audience wishing to address City Council, please come to the podium.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There are plans to develop the Homewood Park location at Homewood between Lang and Clawson. And during this period of June through the end of October, voices of the residents have not been heard, and they are inundated with drivers that park on the street and leave trash and debris all over the place. They drive up on the street and do U-turns on the private driveways. There are signs posted stating that there are no parking on the street. Lang has no fire lane. People still park. This is due to the sports activity that's going on. During that time, there's trash and debris strewn all over the place that the residents have to clean up. There's also causes plumbing issues for the residents. Hazardous packets have been left in the parking lot. Also, there have been, which is also yards away from a church located at Hamilton and Lang. There is also where the players and the children have been changing their clothes publicly in front of the residents, and they are not changing them before they get to their location. On this, the residents call 911 constantly because of the activity that's going on, the parking in front of their homes, up and down the street, emergency vehicles cannot get on access the street when when an issue arises. This is, again, is a daily issue. And I'd like to ask for mayor, city council, city zoning, planning, Homewood Sports, Zone 5, to contact the residents directly, not through Zoom, but to be able to contact them so that we can discuss this issue. That has been occurring over 30 years. Thank you very much for your time and cooperation.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Any further speakers? Good morning, Bernadette.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's pumpkin spice time. My name is Bernadette. I live in Beachview. So every day I've been going down to Ormsby because I don't want my daughter going through the south side as it gets darker now after the pool closes. So my eyes are open. One of the things, and I know Anthony's going to get on it because he spotted it a couple weeks ago, but it's to the point now where if you want to come look at my tires, I got chunks of my tires out. The detour signs with the little T-shaped metal thing that holds them up are being placed on sidewalks. Why? So when you're in a wheelchair and you're going down and you can't get past that, or you're forced to get past that, they're taking chunks out of my tires, and insurance doesn't pay for it if it's not within that allotted wear time. I just had my tires replaced in October. That's not good. Nor is it good for me to try to go up on an embankment to try to get around these. Can we do something to prevent these detour signs all over the city to not be placed on the sidewalk, or to come get them after the work is done? They'll leave them in piles. Get off at Station Square. There's like, you cross East Carson and there's the glass house, whatever that thing is. And there's a whole pile of those signs laying down. Going down East Carson, one day there may be a sign, one day there may not be a sign. For me, I have to reverse it, which is very dangerous. I don't have side view mirrors, you know. Most people in my situation, you can't turn your neck that well to see over your back. But I'm asking all of you to please get our sidewalks cleaned up, get these signs out of the path of the sidewalks. If I'm downtown, I don't care. I love the bike lanes, by the way. I absolutely love them. And I didn't know we have two more city theaters. I went down the bike lane down Penn Avenue. Kudos to the Cultural District. There's 2 theaters I never knew existed. Anyway, great job, welcome back, and I'm sure I'll find you some more stuff.
Thank you. I'm sure Councilman Coghill is already on that. Are there any further speakers wishing to address City Council? Any further speakers? Seeing no further speakers, we'll now move on to our next order of business, which is the presentation of papers. And we'll begin with Councilman Reverend Ricky Burgess, Chair of Urban Recreation.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Good morning.
Thank you.
Reverend Burgess presents Bill number 629, Resolution Establishing the Healthy and Safe Pittsburgh 2030 Initiative and Advisory Committee.
Thank you. And Councilman Coghill, Chair of Public Works.
Oh, thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
You're welcome.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill number 630, Resolution amending Resolution number 563, effective September 16, 2019, entitled Authorizing the Mayor and the Director of the Department of Public Works to enter into a professional services agreement between the City of Pittsburgh and Buchart Horn Architects for architectural and engineer design services related to the renovation of the former Thaddeus Stevens School for use by the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police Special Deployment Division for not to exceed $973,595.22 by amending the title of the resolution and increasing the allocation for the not to exceed amount of $1,412,328.27, an increase of $438,733.05. Bill number 631, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of public works to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection for the purpose of receiving and spending grant funds in the amount of $349,557 for the purchase of a new recycling truck, 9 new recycling dumpsters, and to support public education. Bill number 632, resolution authorizing the mayor and the directors of the Department of Public Works and the Department of Finance on behalf of the City of Pittsburgh to enter into an easement with Duquesne Light Company to provide a permanent easement for vegetation management on city-owned property adjacent to John Kerr Street. Bill number 633, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to apply for a grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development's Multimodal Transportation Fund for the Davis Avenue Pedestrian Bridge Project and further providing for an agreement and expenditures not to exceed $2,500,000. Bill number 634, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to apply for a grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development's Multimodal Transportation Fund for the Homewood Sidewalks Improvement Project and further providing for an agreement and expenditures not to exceed $1,921,005.73. Bill number 635, resolution authorizing the mayor of the City of Pittsburgh and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to receive grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation to complete a stoplight removal study in the amount of $96,000 and authorizing expenditures for this stated purpose. Bill number 636, resolution authorizing the mayor of the City of Pittsburgh and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to receive grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation to replace the stoplight at the corner of Brighton and Jacksonia in the amount of $195,990.60 and authorizing expenditures for this stated purpose. Bill number 637, resolution authorizing the mayor of the City of Pittsburgh and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to receive grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation to replace the stoplight at the corner of Braddock and Forbes in the amount of $471,370.82 and authorizing expenditures for this stated purpose. Bill number 638, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to apply for a grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development's Multimodal Transportation Fund for the South 21st Street Complete Green Street Project and further providing for an agreement and expenditures not to exceed $1,036,422. Bill number 639, resolution amending Resolution 307, approved May 12, 2015, granting unto United States General Services Administration, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense to remove, relocate existing bollards and planters and replace with security-compliant bollards a post and beam rail and a swing plate at 1000 Liberty Avenue in the 2nd Ward, 6th Council District. And Bill number 640, resolution vacating Regis Way and a portion of Rapidan Way, both located in the ballpark plan as recorded in Plan Book, Volume 19, page 56, situated in the 12th Ward, 9th Council District.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Deb Gross, Chair of Intergovernmental Affairs.
Madam President.
Thank you,
Thank
Councilwoman.
you.
Councilwoman Deb Gross presents Bill number 641, Resolution of the City of Pittsburgh adopting an amendment to the Still Valley Authority's Articles of Incorporation to decrease the number of members of the Board of Directors of the Authority. Bill number 642, Resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for 1530 Cliff Street. Bill number 643, Resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for proposed land development located in the 5100 block of Rosetta Street. Bill number 644, Resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for 114 West North Avenue. Bill number 645, Resolution adopting the plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for the Hillman Library expansion, a Commonwealth of Pennsylvania property, project which will involve the construction of an addition, interior renovations, exterior renovations, and site improvements to the Hillman Library. The site address is 3960 Forbes Avenue, 4th Ward of the City of Pittsburgh. Bill number 646, Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure on behalf of the City of Pittsburgh to enter into a cooperation agreement and reimbursement agreement with the Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority to reimburse expenses of PWSA incurred for roadway base and pavement restoration performed by PWSA on behalf of utilities and the city in advance of the Bus Rapid Transit Project at an amount not to exceed $557,002.24. Bill number 672, Resolution calling for promoting affordable commercial and residential development in the City of Pittsburgh by exploring the expansion of the development of accessory dwelling units and detached accessory dwelling units. This bill is sponsored by Councilwoman Gross. Bill number 676, Resolution amending Resolution number 234 of 2022, promoting affordable housing in the City of Pittsburgh by exploring the expansion of limited equity housing cooperatives so as to extend the deadline for the presentation of the report to City Council to October 11, 2022. And this bill is also sponsored by Councilwoman Deb Gross.
Thank you. And Councilman Kraus, Chair of Human Resources.
No new papers, Madam
Councilwoman
President.
Gross, thank you for Councilman Kraus. And Councilman Lavelle, Chair of Finance and Law.
President.
Good morning, Councilman.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 647, Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Office of Management and Budget on behalf of the City of Pittsburgh to enter into a cooperation agreement with the Comprehensive Municipal Pension Trust Fund Board as approved by the Council of the City of Pittsburgh pursuant to Chapter 272 of the City Code of Ordinances. Bill number 648, Resolution authorizing 14 open-end professional service agreements with multiple vendors to provide professional services on an on-call basis as required related to architecture and interior design services as needed by the various departments of the City of Pittsburgh, each agreement being at an amount not to exceed $2,500,000 annually for a 2-year term with up to 2 additional 1-year options and providing for the funding of the costs thereof. Bill number 649, Resolution authorizing 21 open-end professional services agreements with multiple vendors to provide professional services on an on-call basis as required related to architecture and interior design services and energy efficiency consulting services as needed by the various departments of the City of Pittsburgh, each agreement being at an amount not to exceed $500,000 annually for a 2-year term with up to 2 additional 1-year options and providing for the funding of the cost thereof. Bill number 650, Resolution further amending Resolution number 863 of 2018, effective January 1, 2019, as amended, entitled Resolution adopting and approving the 2019 capital budget and the 2019 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2019 through 2024 Capital Improvement Program so as to reallocate Emergency Solutions Grant CARES Act funding and authorize a subsequent agreement to provide emergency shelter services, street outreach services, rental assistance, and housing relocation and stabilization services and/or data collection activities. Bill number 651, resolution further amending Resolution 647 of 2020, effective December 23, 2020, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2021 Capital Budget and the 2021 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2021 through 2026 Capital Improvement Program by reducing park reconstruction by $245,230 and increasing facility improvements, recreation, and senior centers by $245,230. Bill number 652, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into a cooperation agreement or agreements with the City of Pittsburgh Equipment Leasing Authority to provide for the leasing of 4 pumper trucks at a cost not to exceed $3,879,860.74 over 7 years. Bill number 653, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Natasha Bruce and her attorneys, Jack Goodrich and Associates, in the amount of $230,000 relating to the full and final settlement of a case filed in the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. Bill number 654, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Leonard Scott Weiss in the amount of $9,226.64 in settlement of a claim for damage to the residence and sidewalk at 5847 Solway Street from a failed city tree on July 7, 2021. And Bill number 655, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of O'Brien, Coleman, and Wright, LLC, in the amount of $450,000 relating to the full and final settlement of a litigation, including attorney's fees and costs in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania.
Thank you. And our next order of business is, our next committee is Public Safety Services, which I'm the chair until we appoint someone. Thank you.
Council President Cal Smith presents Bill number 664, resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in favor of Southside Marina in the amount of $9,708 for the design and installation of a roof for protection of the fireboat when moored at the arena.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Good morning, Councilwoman.
Councilperson Strasburger presents Bill number 656, resolution amending Resolution number 427 of 2021, which authorized the City of Pittsburgh to extend a professional service agreement with STR Grants, LLC, for software services relating to the eProperties Plus profiling system by a term of 1 year at an additional cost not to exceed $44,218.09. Bill number 657, resolution amending Resolution 470 of 2020, which authorized the mayor and the director of the Department of Finance to enter into an agreement or agreements with RT Lawrence Corporation for the provision of a remittance processing system. Bill number 658, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into an agreement, agreements, or amendments with Microsoft for Microsoft Unified Enterprise Support Services, a comprehensive support solution which is a combination of proactive, reactive, and service delivery management services that support Microsoft products and or online services for a sum not to exceed $81,000. And Bill number 659, resolution amending Resolution 647 of 2021, authorizing the mayor, the director of permits, licenses, and inspections, the director of city planning, and the chief of innovation and performance to enter into an amended professional service agreement or agreements with Building Eye, Inc. to purchase software and related support services that will create an interactive map for internal and public visual display of planning, permit, license, and violation data in order to add an additional year of services and $94,900 of compensation.
Madam President.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
I'd like to make a motion to waive the rules of council so that Bill 658 appears on tomorrow's agenda.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The bill will appear on tomorrow's standing committee agenda. Thank you, Councilwoman. And Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development, Councilwoman Strasburger for Councilman Wilson.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 660, resolution further amending Resolution number 863 of 2018, effective January 1, 2019, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2019 Capital Budget and the 2019 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2019 through 2024 Capital Improvement Program so as to reallocate Community Development Block Grant CARES Act funding and authorize a subsequent agreement or agreements. Bill number 661, resolution accepting a new street name, Woodring Court, in the 23rd Ward of the City of Pittsburgh, as per recommendation by the City of Pittsburgh Addressing Committee. The following street name was approved by CPAC in June of 2022. The name listed in this ordinance shall be made official in accordance with the Pittsburgh Code, Title 4, Public Places and Property, Chapter 420, Uniform Street Naming and Addressing. Bill number 662, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of City Planning on behalf of the city to enter into a license agreement or agreements with Pittsburgh Regional Transit and the Bank of New York Mellon for the installation and maintenance of the Virgil Cantini mosaic for a cost not to exceed $1. And Bill number 663, resolution amending Resolution number 715 of 2021 for the mayor and the Department of Permits, Licenses, and Inspections to enter into an amended agreement or agreements with Avenue Insights and Analytics to digitize, microfiche, and aperture cards holding historic permitting data and add them to the department's digital library. This extension of this agreement will add an additional year of services and $22,354.86 of compensation. The agreement is chargeable and payable from the following account in an amount not to exceed $282,354.86.
Thank you. And myself, Chair of Hearings, I have 2 resolutions and 5 communications. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's take the resolutions first, please.
Okay. Council President Kel Smith presents Bill number 665, resolution transferring a total of $15,000 within the 2022 operating budget from City Council to the Office of the City Clerk for the purpose of professional development. This bill was sponsored by Council President Kel Smith. And Bill number 677, resolution authorizing the mayor, the Office of Management and Budget, the Department of City Planning, the Department of Finance, the Department of Innovation and Performance, the Department of Public Works, the Department of Public Safety, and a housing authority of the City of Pittsburgh to temporarily address the public health emergency of homelessness in the City of Pittsburgh and to provide for policies and programs to address the lack of affordable housing and their consequent contribution to chronic homelessness as directed herein until more permanent solutions can be implemented. This bill is sponsored by Council President Kel Smith and Councilwoman Deb Gross, as well as co-sponsored by Councilman Bobby Wilson.
Thank you. And we have the 5 communications, please.
Bill number 666, communication informing council of the appointment of David A. Jones as Assistant Director of Community Affairs. Bill number 667, communication informing council of the appointment of Angela Martinez as Assistant Director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. Bill number 668, communication from City Controller Michael Lamb submitting a performance audit of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure dated August 2022. And Bill number 669, communication from City Controller Michael Lamb submitting the fiscal audit of the American Rescue Plan Trust Fund dated August 2022. And Bill number 670, communication from Jake Pollock, Director of the Office of Management and Budget, submitting acting pay approvals on behalf of the Department of Finance for Jennifer Gula, the Department of Public Works for Amoy Akule, Kurt Huber, and Nicholas Rossi, per the acting pay policy revised in June of 2018.
Madam President.
Thank you. Yes, Councilman.
I want to sort of get the temperature of council. The bills 2022-666 and 667 come out as a result of the new legislation that we passed at the beginning of this term, requiring assistant directors to be noted for council to notify. These bills come from the result of council now being notified of the hiring of assistant directors. Although we are not seeking to confirm them, I am curious as to whether council has the appetite to interview, particularly, although I am a fan and supporter of his appointment, I wonder, given the times we're in and the sort of violence that we're seeing, if it makes some sense to interview to simply get a formal relationship between Mr. Jones and this council. And so I don't know the appetite for council, but I wanted to at least.
So for me, I will say, I told them yesterday that we do not need to interview the assistants because that was what we mentioned the last time. So I wanted to be consistent with what we offered for the previous assistant directors, for this assistant director. But he did offer, he was here earlier, he offered to be part of the interview. So if we want to have a briefing or some kind of conversation, I'm okay with that. But I want to be respectful and offer him the same thing that we've offered everyone before him. I want to be consistent.
I don't mean it to be, a gotcha moment. I just think that.
No, I know you don't, but.
Yeah, I think we should think about whether it's a briefing or whether there should be we should design some way.
Well, I think we have a couple post agendas and public hearings called for public safety.
Yeah, that
and so maybe during one of that we can find out the temperature. Okay.
Motion to receive.
Read, receive, and file.
Receive and file.
Yeah.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Communications passed. Thank you. And now we're moving on to any unfinished business. And the next order of business is reported to committee for final action, and there is no final action. We'll move on to motions and resolutions. And motions and resolutions, I have a few meeting announcements. This afternoon at 1:30, council will hold an executive session relative to pending litigation. Tomorrow, Wednesday, August 24th at 10 a.m., council will hold our standing committees meeting. Speaker registration will close at 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. To register to speak at these meetings, please fill out the sign-up form on the council's meeting webpage by the deadline. You may also call the city clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Is there anything from members? Councilman Coghill and then Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
I just really wanted to talk about Bill 677 briefly. It's a little disheartening for me to hear the callers as to your comments. Everybody and anybody that knows you knows this is done out of compassion. This is not about removing people and, just getting them off the street. I know you want to find a place for them to be housed. Anything less than that is disingenuous, and they did not listen to your entire comments. I know that through talking with you and certainly Councilwoman Gross, your sponsor here as well. I mean, we know that about her as well. So I want the public to know this is done out of compassion. Not only is it done out of compassion, the status quo is not good enough, okay? And this is about getting the ball rolling, starting to talk about what we can do as a council. We are limited as to what we can do. We will need the administration and we will need the county to come in and act as well. I've had many conversations with our county executive about this. He is willing to sit with us to see what kind of solutions that we can come up with. I believe we have some really good resources out there. Allegheny Health Network and Dan Pelko, I believe, is a great resource. I think he knows each individual that's out there and, what kind of help that they need. Whether we're talking short-term or long-term, there's really two issues here. Short-term is getting people off of the street and get them a place to live, out of compassion. We want to help. I want the public to know that. Long term, we can talk about tiny houses and hotels. That's going to take money, of course, and that's the long-term solution. So I look forward to, talking with you and Councilwoman Gross and Mr. Wilson as to what we can come up in the short term. and also, looking towards the long term. So this really is us, this council, not turning a blind eye to this and wanting to jump in and wanting to help. It's a necessity to jump in on this subject, I feel, and I want to be part of it. I would also like to be a co-sponsor of the bill, if that's okay with you.
I'd be honored to have you on there. Thank you.
Good, and help, finding resolutions to this. So with that, I just wanted to state, this is done out of compassion. I want to state that everybody who knows you knows that's why we are looking into this. So thank you.
Councilman. Thank you. Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Madam President. I have several motions for public hearings and post agendas that I want to make, but I'll make some comments first, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
And so I want to also echo what Councilman Coghill said, that you and I have been working together now for weeks since we have been getting calls and emails about the situation of homelessness, and we have only ever talked about what can be added as resources to help the people who are unhoused. And that clip was, I think, not the entire conversation, and I just want the callers to know that I have not heard you talk about sweeps. That is not anything that anyone ever said. I am not in favor of sweeps. I know that you're not in favor of homeless sweeps. I also want to mention a few things that I said to media that were not included either, which is that some residents don't know, and even some of the media interviews that people I spoke with, maybe who are new to the city, don't know that council has been talking about affordable housing now for years due to the leadership of some of our council members who still serve, Councilman Lavelle especially, and Councilman Burgess. That council as a whole has authorized, it's going back years, and some of our newer residents don't know this, that we spent so long on working on an affordable housing task force and have affordable housing plans, created the Housing Opportunity Fund. And I believe the numbers I have in front of me is that council has expended, and these dollars have moved, right? They're not just sitting, that housing and rental assistance has gone out from the Housing Opportunity Fund at $56 million so far in the last 5 or 6 years. That additionally, council moved $16 million of emergency rental assistance funds from the federal government. Some places were less effective at moving that money and getting it into people's hands, but we should be proud of the work that we did in partnering with the county and Action Housing and actually reaching the households that needed that rent money so that they wouldn't be evicted and wouldn't be displaced. But it has, and we've additionally allocated $40 million at least of our American Rescue Plan funds that right before recess we moved to the Urban Redevelopment Authority for additional housing projects, assistance and technical assistance and homeownership programs, and that we have moved an additional $10 million into the Office of Community Health and Safety to do this outreach work. Some people kind of missed that part, or it's hard to keep up with everything. So it's really impressive to look at that in total. I mean, that's $72 million that's already out on the street, and about $128 million in total. And so we still have money moving. And in the briefings that Councilwoman Smith and I attended and calls that we made to the administration over the last few weeks, what we really came away with was that while there are shelters that are not open now that will be open, that shelters are really most of what is out there that's available to people, and shelters are really not housing. Right, and so it's really a difference, and I really want to emphasize that having a bed just for a few hours, not even for 24 hours, right? Having to leave in the morning and then being out all day and then maybe being allowed to come back that night, that's not housing. And that there's a real gap while we work on building more permanent housing. There's something in between shelter beds and permanent housing, which is temporary and transitional housing, and that there's a gap there that we can do better at. It's not for everybody. It won't be overnight. It won't be easy. It won't be immediate, but we can do it sooner and faster than we can build long-term permanent housing. And that reflects some of the language that we tried to put on the table today and that we hope to work further with the administration on. That there is a a more secure way to help people while they're still not in permanent housing, while they still might need a lot of social services, including mental health services, including drug and alcohol addiction services, including even childcare, right? That is more easy to provide if someone's in temporary housing. And according to the Housing and Urban Development at the federal government, that can be up to 24 months. Right, and so there's something that provides a little more dignity and would help us provide more shelter and more security to people that's kind of in between and is lacking in what exists in our system right now. So I hope that we get to work more on that. But we'd like to hear more from the administration on their response to homelessness. We've heard some of it in our briefings and phone calls, and so I'd like to motion for these, and then I have another a public hearing and motion for, but I'd like to make a motion for a public hearing and post agenda on the administration's response to homelessness.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. And then I also have another one,
We'll
Madam Clerk. Thank you, Madam President. So at the request of the Food and Equity Ambassadors, and I do have some comments, but I don't know if members will want me to go through them. I can, or I can send you all an email. We have had a request for a public hearing on urban agriculture and food equity, and it's a program where volunteer ambassadors meet to develop policy proposals for council. And they've been meeting over the course of this year and would like to present their policy recommendations to us. So I'd like to motion for a public hearing on urban ag and food equity.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And we'll get that scheduled as well, Councilwoman. Thank you. Anything else from any other members? Councilman Burgess, and then Council for first round, and then Councilman Coghill.
So, as always, I support the President and her initiative. I will support the legislation. I am willing to co-sponsor it. I don't need to. You have my support and my vote. I think this is very thoughtful. In Homewood, a community that I represent, there's been a number of studies showing that it has one of the highest rates of homelessness in the city. Yet you don't see them, right? You don't see them on the streets. You don't see them loitering all the time, although I think last summer I had a homeless couple camp out on our church portfolio, our lobby. They were there for a couple weeks, actually, a couple, sleeping there every night until we were with them, Laura DeGrosky and I helped to find them a different place to be. But many of them are on couches, right? They're in couches, they're in cars, they are in temporary, they're in neighbors' houses. They have no permanent place, but they're homeless. And this problem is a housing problem only in part. I think, we have Ricky Moody here who probably can explain this better than me, but that homeless population, many of them also have drug and alcohol problems. Many of them also have mental health problems. Many of them also have abuse problems. Many of them have justice problems. And to help them, to strengthen them, to make them more resilient as individuals and their families, because many of them are families, is going to take a coordinated approach in many of our communities. And so I think that this is really a very clear example, and we have the outreach worker, the public engagement workers rather here, of why we really have to go in these communities and put together and help them fashion all the available resources so that we can, in a very comprehensive way, address these problems. And I think that, we've introduced some legislation to kind of start talking about how to do that. And I think this issue is an example issue of how this issue that affect our communities, such as homelessness, has to be addressed, and we have to build the capacity of community-based organizations and build families to be able to deal with that problem in a way that's comprehensive and consistent. And so I think, again, I support the legislation, and I think it is it's a clear example of council's willingness, not only willingness, but our desire to directly impact our residents and improve their quality of life, especially knowing that we may have in the future another pandemic that comes and tests their resiliency. And so we have to, while we have hopefully this law, build the capacity and the resilience of our residents, their families, and the faith-based, community-based organizations that serve them. Thank you for this moment.
Thank you, Reverend. And Councilman Gross, Councilman Calder, you had your hand up again.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
I did want to address the detour signs that Bernadette spoke of. It's beyond me how we put detour signs in the middle of walkways where the ADA, they're not ADA accessible. I just don't understand it. I don't know who's responsible for putting the detour signs up, but
Can I just say, I believe that's a PennDOT project.
PennDOT, yeah. Well, they should be told you cannot put this on the sidewalk. If they have to take up a parking spot, take up a parking spot. But we need to make sure it's available to get through for people in wheelchairs and pushing baby strollers and everything else. One other thing I did want to add, I would like to schedule a post agenda on the state of our police department, looking at all facets, staffing levels, morale. I think there's a lot of things that we need to look at as a council and we need to know. I know there's an independent study, going on now. I don't know if we have the results as to what the staffing levels should be, but it's much more than that. I would like to schedule that at a time to be determined, but and I know with your help, I know you're also, very conscious of this and, want to make sure that our police department's healthy and, at the right numbers, at the right levels. The recruiting class, I want to talk about all things related to the police department. So
thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We'll get that scheduled, Councilman.
Thank you.
Okay. And anything else from members? No? So I'm going to just say a few comments. First, I'm going to say that I'll talk about the housing in a moment. I want to first thank Brenda Pree, who was our clerk for about 5 years, who has moved on. We want to wish her the best of luck and thank her for getting us through a really difficult and challenging, unprecedented time through the pandemic. She did an amazing job, and I want to thank her for that. But I also want to thank the person who's always standing up, filling in, helping us out whenever we need help, and has done this not once, but this is the second time she's been acting clerk. And I want to say thank you to Kim Clark-Baskin, and I also want to say happy birthday to Kim. Today's her birthday. And we'll discuss more of that later. I also want to introduce some of the people to the public that we have. Previously, we introduced some of the community engagement staff, but I want to start with, he's not connected to the community engagement office, but he will work with them. Ricky Moody, you want to come up? Now, we created this position with Ricky to address some of the drug and alcohol issues that we're having in the city, the homelessness, some other things. Ricky, do you want to talk about it briefly, what you're working on?
So, I'm sorry.
Just introduce yourself.
Oh, hi, I'm Ricky Moody. I'm the Community Health and Public Service. Community Health and Public Human Service Policy Manager. It's a lot. I've been here since July 11th, 5 weeks in. Right now, I've been working on a lot of different policy initiatives, which will possibly intersect with the outreach workers here in regards to some social determinants of health work. I'm also right now providing gaps in communication with different providers and different stakeholders in the community about human service topic issues and their role with City Council. I'm sorry, this was on the spot, Council President Smith.
I want to say
you didn't let me prepare anything.
I want to say I did catch him off guard, but Ricky comes with a ton of experience and resources in this field, and has worked doing some of the counseling in.
So I practice in many different clinics throughout the city.
There you go. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
So he's already been a huge help. So I want to make sure we acknowledge him, because he's working kind of solo in some regards. So thank you very much for your help there. And let's once again introduce all the community engagement people. Just come up, say your name, and then we're going to go to our budget office. Just so that people know, some of the budget office, so the community engagement office was moved from the administration over to our side. It's not in addition to the budget, it was moved over to from the budget to our side. Yeah.
I'm Skylar Schaefer, the Office of Public Engagement. Thank
you. Dr. Melissa Rossiter, Office of Public Engagement.
Oh, Dr. Diane Hobson, Office of Public Engagement.
Glad I wore a tie today. Brian Stahl, Office of Public Engagement.
Thank you. I just want everyone to get to know the people that will be working in the communities and helping us do some of the things that we most need in the city of Pittsburgh. And we're now going to begin with our new budget director who took Bill Urbanic's place. And bring your team up. Bring your whole team up and have them introduce themselves. And I caught them all off guard, so I apologize because they're doing an amazing job filling in at the last minute. I see Ricky's going to kill me.
That's okay. We want to see them off guard.
Yeah, they're great. Come on up. And then say what you're doing.
Paris Sturm, the Internals Accounts Monitor. I do all the purchasing here.
Tell them about your background.
I came from the Controller's Office. I was down there for about 3 or 4 years as a fiscal auditor. And then I have my backgrounds in finance with a master's in fraud and forensics.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rhea Price. I am the Deputy Director of the Office of Management and Budget. This is actually my second time with the city. I worked in Office of Management and Budget for about 10 years, but I've been away for about 5 years. And I'm back, and I'm looking forward to working with Pete and all the council members. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Peter McDevitt. I'm the new director of the council budget office. I'm very excited to come back to the city. I worked with Rhea in the Office of Management and Budget for 6 years. I'm very excited to be working here with the council members. I'm very humbled that they gave me this opportunity to work with them to make sure that they have the money to complete the initiatives that they want to do. I'm very excited to be working with Rhea and Paris, who had to run back because she had Home Depot on hold on the phone. So.
Thank you. So I just want to thank them all for accepting the positions. I know we can be very challenging working with 9 different bosses, plus the clerk's office and our sergeant at arms and our solicitor. So I just want to, and Solicitor Friesen, everybody met you more than once. You're on TV all the time. So I just want to thank them all for their work. But I also want to thank Solicitor Friesen for helping to draft the legislation that we introduced today regarding housing in the city of Pittsburgh. And I want to thank Councilwoman Gross and Councilman Coghill for constantly being sounding boards for some of this stuff that we were doing. I want to make it really clear when I talk about this, because I want to thank you for your comments, Councilman. But I think that when we talk and we do things via the media or social media, and people take a sound bite and they don't take the whole entire content into play, I think that throughout this part, I've never once said that I want people physically removed from a street. I never once said that. What I said was I want tents down. What I said is I want housing up. What I said is I want people to have stable, healthy housing. What we are doing to our poor, to our unhoused population is disgusting. And I think we have the money, we have the resources to do what we need to have done. And I'm just calling on council, the mayor, the county exec, everyone to stop pointing the fingers at one another, and let's address this issue, because people should not be homeless in the city of Pittsburgh when we have so many resources coming in here. And if you know me, you would know that I would be the person who would take somebody into my home. And I drive around with bags for those that are unhoused, which I also distribute to people. And I also cook for people. So I'm not wanting to see people not with housing, not with tents. I want to see them with something stable. I can't imagine what it would be like to be with your family in the storms that we had just this weekend, let alone the freezing temperatures that we're expecting. There's a way, I think, to do this a much more humane and compassionate way. And I do think that there are people that are doing a lot of work in the city of Pittsburgh, and I never want to take away from what they're doing. But I want to help add and make their job less difficult, that now we'll find a place for you to put people when they are ready for housing or homes. And I think if we're going to ignore everything else our residents are saying, we're ignoring what the population of Pittsburgh is concerned about. Not all people that are mentally ill or have challenges or have drug addictions or anything like that are unhoused. Some are people walking the streets every day and not feeling safe in their own right. So it's an issue that we have to address for everyone and all of us together, and to make sure that we do it right. And that's what I'm hoping that we get to do. So with that said, is there anything else from members? Can I have a motion to excuse the absent members and adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Oh.
Bye.